Welcome back to Wall of Game, where passion meets music, and we're on to the letter M today in my music collection. There's a lot to cover here, so let's dive straight into it. Starting off with the Mahavishnu Orchestra. I have to thank Andy Edwards for getting me into this band. They're absolutely amazing. A jazz fusion band led by John McLaughlin, or John McLaughlin, as I've heard some people say it, but if you come from Ireland, you say McLaughlin. It's got the 5 studio albums from 1971 to 1974. We've got The Inner Mounting Flame, Birds of Fire, Between Nothingness and Eternity, Apocalypse, and Visions of the Emerald Beyond. Absolutely fantastic. This band blew my mind when I first heard them. I think it was last year. And yeah, they continue to blow my mind. Amazing musicianship, jazz rock, jazz fusion, whatever you want to call it. The Mahavishnu Orchestra, led by, of course, John McLaughlin. If you like guitar playing and you like progressive rock and jazz fusion, you need to get on this if you haven't already. Get on it. Okay, following Mahavishnu Orchestra, I have some stuff here from the Manic Street Preachers. So I've got Generation Terrorists from them. That's their debut album. Pretty good. Everything Must Go is a great rock album. I picked that up last year, I think it was. It was only €3. And then this album I bought when it actually came out. Giving away my age there. The Manic Street Preachers, This Is My Truth, Tell Me Yours. Of course, this was released in 1998. So there you go, a long time ago, 27 years ago. Moving on here to John Mayall and the Blues Breakers. I have this compilation album. One's a live album, one's a studio album. I was gifted that from Gavin in That Sound Podcast, so thanks for that one, Gav. It's a great album. Moving on to Megadeth. So we have Rust in Peace, brilliant album by Megadeth, released in 1990. Probably their last classic thrash metal album before they slowed things down a little bit, but this one's got it all. It's got Holy Wars, The Punishment Due, Hangar 18, Tornado of Souls. What more do you want? Brilliant. And the classic lineup here as well for the band: Dave Mustaine, Nick Menza, Dave Ellefson, and Marty Friedman. Okay, that lineup then will continue into 1992's Countdown to Extinction. This is an amazing album, really rocks. It's got Skin of My Teeth, Symphony of Destruction, Sweating Bullets, That Was My Life, Countdown to Extinction. Absolutely brilliant album. And then it's kind of weird, I bought this album when it came out at the time, United Abominations. It's a take on the United Nations. The artwork on it's absolutely amazing. I think this is like a Russian pressing, because all the text on it is in Russian. But yeah, it's an amazing album. Sleepwalker, Washington Is Next, Never Walk Alone, United Abominations, Gears of War, and we have another version of A Tout Le Monde, which originally was released on Euthanasia, and Christina Scabbia from the Italian metal band, which I cannot remember, will come to me later. She sings lead vocals with Dave Mustaine on that version of that track. But really liked this album, and I saw them on the tour shortly after this, so that's the reason why I went and picked this one up. But it's amazing. I still need to pick up Euthanasia. I need to pick up Risk and Cryptic Writings, and then I also need to pick up Peace Sells But Who's Buying, all that stuff from the 1980s from Megadeth. But then moving on to Metallica. So I have all of the Metallica studio albums. I've talked about Metallica so many times on the channel, I don't need to go through these in detail. We have Kill 'Em All, of course, the debut album from 1983. We have Ride the Lightning from 1984. This is the original lineup with James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich, Kirk Hammett, and of course Cliff Burton. And then we have Master of Puppets from 1986. Of course, Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets were recorded in Denmark, in Copenhagen. That's Sweet Silence Studios, produced by Flemming Rasmussen. Then they tried something different. Of course, Cliff Burton had passed away, and they brought in Jason Newsted on bass. They made this album, which is very long, very trashy. The bass isn't very loud in it. The bass guitar isn't very loud in it. And Justice for All, released in 1988. They tried to get in the producers from Appetite for Destruction. Well, Lars certainly did. So Steve Thompson and Michael Barberio started it off. James couldn't get on with those guys. They were kicked out. Flemming Rasmussen was brought in late in the day to help finish the album. So the production's a bit of a mess, but I think the songs stand up. Blackened and Justice for All won The Shortest Straw, Harvester of Sorrow, Afraid and Insanity. Absolutely brilliant album, one of Metallica's best. And then we have the album that actually got me into Metallica, believe it or not, the Black Album. This one way back in the day. Enter Sandman, Sad But True, The Unforgiven, Wherever I May Roam. You know the deal. It's a great album produced by Bob Rock, and this was kind of getting into a more stadium rock sound. Sticking with Bob Rock then throughout the 90s, we have Load, which is like a blues rock album. I love it. I think the production's amazing on it, and it is one of my favourite Metallica albums, Load. Reload's not as good, in my opinion. It's an album with two halves. First half is okay. Second half, I could take or leave. We have the live album from we have the B-Sides album from 1998, Garage Inc. Of course, we've also got the Garage Days Revisited on this as well, from 1987. And we got like, Whiskey in the Jar and Sabracadabra and Turn the Page, all that good stuff from 1998, produced by Bob Rock as well, that one. S&M from 1999, that was the live album, San Francisco Orchestra and Metallica. That was the second Metallica CD I actually bought, but to be honest, I don't really like it that much because I think the orchestra ruins a lot of the songs. Saint Anger from 2003. I spoke about this album at length on my channel. Not a great album whatsoever. Moving on then to the 2000s, or later into the 2000s, we have Death Magnetic, produced by Rick Rubin, released in 2008. This was the first album with Robert Trujillo on bass, after Jason Newsted left the band. I should say Bob Rock, the producer, played bass on Saint Anger. Hardwired to Self-Destruct, released in 2016. And then we continue on with 72 Seasons, released in 2023. And the M72 tour, which of course Metallica are coming to Dublin next year, and I got tickets for that. Moving on then, saw this guy at Slane in the year 2000 and had to buy his album, Moby Play. I'm not a big fan of electronic or dance music, but I have to say Moby stuff is great. Moving on to something completely different here. It's Christy Moore, the Christy Moore collection from 1981 to 1991. Of course, a lot of people are aware of Christy Moore in Ireland. Very famous singer-songwriter. Originally started out with Plank City and then went out on his own. But he's revered up and down the country. Again, he's kind of a folk, traditional Irish singer. Not really my cup of tea, but I think like my dad had that CD, so it ended up in my collection somehow. I have a 5-album box set by Gary Moore, who, this is the kind of Irish music I really love now. We're talking blues rock and heavy rock and metal influenced by Celtic sort of stuff, Tin Lizzy. But this album we've got, or this collection we've got, Run for Cover, After the War, still got the blues, After Hours and Blues for Greenie. Of course, the cover album in honour of Peter Green. Sticking with Gary Moore then, I've got After Hours here on its own, and I've got Blues for Greenie on its own. I think that's a deadly cover. Love that one. And I love Gary Moore. I think he's an amazing guitar player. Okay, moving on back to the 1990s then. We've got Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill. Classic album. She played in the summer. I didn't get a chance to see her. I chose to see Neil Young instead. But I'm sure she'll be back. And then we're on to Motorhead. I have No Sleep Till Hammersmith. I think this one was 1980. Great live album. Absolutely brilliant. And then we have Ace of Spades, which is actually a compilation album. It was my first Motorhead album I bought back in the day. And then I went to see Motorhead on this tour, the Motorizer tour, so I bought the album. It's a pretty good album, to be fair. Moving on then to Muse. Origin of Symmetry, saw the band on this tour. This was their second album. Newborn is on this. Plug-in Baby is on this. It's Feeling Good is actually on that as well. Great album. And then the mainstream, Bake True, Absolution, absolutely class. Time is Running Out, Sing for Absolution, Stockholm Syndrome and Hysteria, to name but a few on this one. Going even more into the mainstream with this one here, Black Holes and Revelations. Starlight, of course, was massive from this album. Super massive. Black Hole and Knights of Sidonia, still a staple in the band setlist to this day. And then moving even more down the mainstream direction sounding, but like still obviously a very politically charged band, is this one here, The Resistance. Uprising was a huge song for them. Undisclosed Desires was another big one. That's an amazing album. Love it, very well produced. And then of course one of my favourite bands and one of my favourite producers come together. It's Muse and it's Mutt Lange on this one here, Drones. Went to see the band on this tour as well, and I have to say I really like this album. I know a lot of people, a lot of Muse fans don't think it's their best, but I think it's definitely up there with their best work. And then Show My Age again, coming back to 2006, I think this one was released, yeah. And it's this one here, My Chemical Romance, The Black Parade. I'm not a massive fan of this album, and I'm not a massive fan of this band, but it was one of those things, they were the big band at the time, and I just decided to pick the album up, but I don't listen to it very often. So there you go, that is my collection for the letter M. Please let me know in the comments below if there's anything you think I should add or subtract from my collection here. If you liked the video, stick a like in it, and I will talk to you on the next one. Bye for now.